Bernii Mac Chats is in association with the Bernii Mac Artist Development Agency based in the UK, developing artists worldwide.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. It's been nice to catch up. So, do you want to just tell the listeners who you are, what you're doing right now in the music industry?
I'm
A little
Hanan
introduction.
Rubinstein. I'm Hanan Rubinstein. I started as a guitar player. I do a lot of different things. I'm kind of a weird guy, but I think the industry is made out of us weirdos that wear a lot of hats, right?
Yes, for sure. I'm in that bracket.
Right, so you kind of have to do more than just one thing nowadays. But you have to do them all well, so I try to limit myself to, three main lanes, if you will, and not more than that. And those three lanes are playing with artists, right? So whether it's guitar or singing or keys or whatever instrument, playing that in shows or, in studio sessions and stuff, just being a musician for hire, basically.
Yeah.
That's one lane. The second lane is our vocal coach. I work with a lot of singers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm a vocal coach too. That's awesome. Yeah.
And I work with many singers, some just getting started, some are big stars, and everything in between. And I teach people how to unlock their bodies and use their anatomy to their advantage, right?
Yeah, because singing's very physical. People don't realize how involved the body. Your voice is your instrument, and people sometimes don't realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only is it very physical, but unlike other instruments, you cannot see the instrument.
Yeah.
So you have to use your imagination to unlock certain areas and to feel. We should feel what we're singing as well as hear it, not just listen.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do, and then the third lane that I work in is the production and writing and mixing of music. We're actually here in my studio here that I have.
Yeah, let's have a look.
A partner.
Awesome.
And thank you. And we do quite a lot of work producing and mixing, and then basically trying to help people out with whatever is missing in their musical life. So whether it's getting in at the end of the process of just putting together and giving it a great big sound to what they record in their bedroom, or maybe people want to record some stuff at home, but maybe they don't have a piano or a live drum set or a crazy guitar collection. Then that's where we would come in, and we kind of pick and choose where to enter and exit a project and where to be the most helpful.
So you're kind of.
So I hope that wasn't too long of an answer.
No,
what I do.
No, not at all. No, I love it.
So those are the three main lanes that I operate in.
So what's the name of your? Do you have a production company, or do you have a name behind it, or is it more freelance?
Mm-hmm. No, there's two companies. One is Anonymous Music.
Okay, is that .com?
Yeah, that's my company, but I do most of my work. My company, Daxxit Music, which I partner with my great friend Ben Hyman. We have a company together called Daxxit Music.
Okay.
And this is actually the studio, and it's called Daxxit Sound Studios.
And where is Daxxit based?
It's in Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Okay, cool.
We are right on Main Street. Yeah, we're literally looking at Midtown. You can see Midtown from our live room.
That's nice.
And we're right across the bridge. And we built the place because we were just a little over Brooklyn. And I mean, we love Brooklyn, but we don't love driving to Brooklyn, New Jersey. And we discovered that there are a lot of people who live in this area that just schlep in and out of the city. And honestly, had I known how busy it would be, I would have built this place 10 years ago.
I guess it's nice. It's kind of quieter as well. It must be nice. I mean, is it? I mean, New Jersey is a bit quieter than Manhattan and Brooklyn.
It is and it isn't.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, there are no sirens every 2 seconds in the street.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
The standard New York stuff, but there are other things. I love Jersey. I'm a Jersey boy. So.
Do you live in Jersey, or are you still in New York, or do you live kind of?
I live in New Jersey.
You live in New Jersey.
Yeah,
that's
about
cool.
10 minutes away. Well, I live right on the Hudson, so we're looking at.
Oh, that's
New York.
so beautiful.
It's lovely.
I miss New York like crazy. Yeah.
Sorry?
I miss New York like crazy.
Well, come visit.
I will. I think we're going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
But
Let me know.
Oh,
come by and visit us.
Yeah, so I mean, I was saying to Hanan earlier on, just to the listeners, I was saying that Hanan and I met at a jam night 8 years ago, and I can't believe how quickly that's flown by.
Crazy.
And at the time, and I think you still are, you're guitarist with Alicia Keys.
Guilty.
And how long have you been working with Alicia Keys for? Because I mean, you over 8 years, obviously.
Yeah, I think 2012, the beginning of 2012, we started. So
yeah, that's pretty much when I think that's pretty much when we met. So you must have just started working with her. So
yeah, it was fresh when we met.
How did you, how did you get involved? Like, how did Alicia Keys find out about you? Did you have to audition, or how did it come about? Did you know somebody? What was the process?
It's funny. I always wish I had a very exciting story. Like I went to some night and then I was discovered and someone saw me. But the reality is that I was already working with other people. I was playing around town and I was doing a lot of sessions. I was recording. I was actually the real way it came together. I've never really told the story, but
oh, cool.
I was working on a record for an artist. I don't know if you know her, Layla Hathaway.
I've heard of Layla Hathaway.
Beautiful singer.
Yeah.
And the guy one of the producers, his name is Miles Robertson. He, at the time, was the musical director for Adele.
Okay.
And we were working on this Layla Hathaway record, who I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And he basically, I was noodling around guitar or something, and he said, "Hey man, you wanna audition for Alicia Keys? I'm MDing her new band." So I said, "All right."
Yeah.
and that's basically how it happened. It wasn't a big audition or anything. Or actually, you know what? That's not true. He asked me to join his band, and I think we auditioned as a band.
Okay. Right. Okay.
And I think she had an older band that all those guys are very good, and I think there was a change in management and they wanted to get a different face on the music and a different sound. And then quite a few players changed. In fact, I'm the last remaining player from that lineup.
Oh, you
started
are?
with. Yeah, I mean, they're all incredible musicians. I mean, you had Al Cardi and Jermaine Parrish and Miles. I mean, those guys are like incredible. And we've played with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Aside from Alicia, we've played, Bonnie Raitt, Carole King. I mean, like a lot of serious names, and those guys are world class. It had nothing to do with their skill level. I think she just made. Well, I don't really know what she was thinking, but I think sometimes you just switch stuff up and see what fits, But those guys are incredible, man.
So Carole King, who I love, she would kind of hire your Alicia Keys band, you guys. You're not, the guys that work with Alicia, and you guys would work with her. Is that how it's working? Just for the new artists?
Yeah, a lot of times you'll do. But basically, once you get the Alicia Keys co-sign, it for me at least, it opened up a whole other world of possibilities. It's like an introduction to a different level almost, and. Alicia started doing these events called Blackball.
Yeah.
And Blackball is basically Alicia hosting this event for a charity named Keep a Child Alive, and through that charity, she invites a lot of artists in. So I got to meet a lot of artists through that charity, and then that grew into other things. Whether it's like Pharrell or Diddy, or it really it's the star power that Alicia brings. It's jarring.
She's been around a long time, and I can't remember a time in her career where she hasn't been active and kind of doing things. She hasn't, to my memory, she hasn't faded in any way. Didn't she come out in 1999? Maybe it was a long time ago, wasn't it? And
I want to say and whether she's pushing a single or just touring or taking a quick break, it's always been at the highest level of the game. I mean, she's never. I don't recall a time where Alicia wasn't one of the I don't know top 5 biggest female artists in the world. So it's amazing for me to see not only on a musical level, but also the infrastructure and what goes around it, how management is doing things, how how logistics come together, what day to day looks like, and it's been an unbelievable learning experience to be in the front seat of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that's actually on my list of questions. So on my old school paper here, what I did was I asked. I'm keeping up with the times. I asked a couple of my artists that I'm working with, some of the younger ones, to ask you some questions. And one of the questions that they asked was, what is it like working with such a big celebrity artist, and how has that changed your perspective on the music industry? I think was the question.
It's a good question. You know what? One of the things I really respect the most about Alicia is she's somehow still a human being. You see a lot of bigger artists. We won't mention any names, but you see people who believe their own hype.
Yeah.
I have to say, she's been so nice and so approachable. I mean, obviously, to some extent, you have to be a little bit guarded because if she was, taking the time for every person who wanted to speak to her, she'd never get anything done. But
that's it. She'd have nothing left for herself.
No, you have to have some kind of barrier, but she's very kind and very approachable. Considering her position, I think she's extremely approachable. Yeah. And to answer your question, I've learned what really matters and what to actually value in my pursuit of a career. And she's been a great example of how to navigate certain things because people think, oh, I'm talented, I'll just sing and I'll be famous, and it's just so simplistic of an approach. There are so many other things that go into quote unquote making it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned, I would say one of the main things I've learned from Alicia is how to navigate things that have nothing to do with music, how to deal with shit that's unpleasant sometimes, but do it gracefully.
Yeah.
You don't always get your way. How to, it's how to manage not only good stuff. I think she's incredible at being a superstar. That's a full-time job. Being a superstar like that, I didn't realize. You don't just go to restaurants and ride in fancy cars. There's a lot of things like fittings and imagine playing an arena show and being exhausted and going to 3 fittings after that.
Yeah.
There's just not enough time in a day. So that's the stuff that people don't see really.
Well, I think it was Rick Barker who launched Taylor Swift. I think he said that the difference between a great artist and a superstar is work ethic. So
it's so true.
Yeah, and so you really do have to be on your game and just be willing to work very, very hard if you want to get to that level.
You see people say you gotta work, but what does that actually mean? What does that mean? You gotta work. Sometimes it means waking up early and not getting enough sleep, and then still being able to sing. That's work. Having a routine. How do you do that? Well, you get into a vocal routine.
Yeah.
Even when you feel like you want to rest, you put in an hour of exercises and whatever, and just maintaining the instrument and eating the right shit, even if you feel like eating a bucket of ice cream, you have that salad because not for any aesthetic reasons, but also for the way you feel and knowing that you have to function the next day on a very high level, and just
can't afford to be sick.
Basic things that you wouldn't think about that are just artist preservation.
Yeah. How did you know any of that when you went into the industry? Like how when you first started out, little Hanan, what
Hanan.
Little Hanan. Yeah. So, what's been the biggest shock or the biggest eye opener? I mean, did you have much knowledge when you were first starting out? Did you have a mentor, or did you how did it come about for you?
Well, I was very lucky because when I first started playing, I caught the eye and ear of George Benson, and he kind of took me under his wing. But it was more like going to his house and playing and being shocked by his guitar mastery than like, the logistics of the music industry. But he did help me out a lot in terms of answering questions. But I didn't really know the right stuff to ask. I was 16, 17,
This
so.
is it. So
But go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, sorry, I interrupted. I was going to say, so what's been the biggest eye opener? I mean, did you always know that you were going to get to this level? Was this the dream? I'm going to session, or did you want to be an artist? And what's been the biggest?
I'm still reaching.
You're still reaching for it. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many things. I mean, I guess it's a cliche, but you have to constantly be learning. I mean, I learned stuff this week I cannot wait to apply.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's I must say there hasn't been one giant discovery. It's always been a gradual, constant stream of useful information, and you keep the good stuff and you get away with the bullshit and you keep moving forward. And I think as much as learning, it's also important to discern what's valid and what's nonsense, because a lot of people have a lot of opinions, and everybody thinks they understand what it's like to quote unquote make it in the music industry or entertainment or whatever. And it's just, there's a lot of nonsense, and it's crazy. You don't see a lot of lawyers that go, "Oh, I'm a lawyer today. I'm gonna practice law."
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of doctors who go, "You know what? I'm a surgeon. I'm a surgeon now. I'm gonna go open up hearts."
Yeah. Let's just forget about that 7 years of study.
And yet you see a lot of people that go, "I'm a manager now. I'm a music manager." You see it all the time. I'm an artist. And while I do appreciate that sort of fire and ambition, which is great, and it's good to not lose that, there are also a lot of things that need to happen in order to facilitate that sort of thing successfully. Would you give me 1 second? I'm sorry, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to be able to give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to look through these questions.
I have this girl, she just texted me. Her name is Gabby DiMartino. She's a wonderful artist, and we're going to do a lot of stuff together. She just texted me she's running slightly behind because she's responsible, and that's what makes a successful artist.
Yeah, being reliable, on time.
Yeah. So it's now 11 o'clock. We have a noon appointment an hour from now. And she said my driver is running a little bit late. Here's an hour heads up. That's how you conduct yourself.
Yeah. I love that.
I can't wait to play the stuff we do with her. It's going to be amazing.
What sort of music is she, what sort of music are you writing and producing?
I'm going to leave that as a surprise.
Okay. All right.
But look her up. She's fabulous.
Yeah, I will for sure. I'm going to run through some of these questions. I know you're busy.
Yes, please.
So one of my artists asked, what do you respect in a new artist? Or just in an artist in general? That
changes.
Yeah.
That changes. It depends on what kind of artist. Sometimes it's that, they say chutzpah, that attitude of like just taking it.
Yeah.
And not waiting for it to happen. I think there's, especially now with the gatekeepers not being there as they used to be, 20, 30 years ago, where it was just like either you're on MTV or you're not being heard, or you're on the radio, you're not being heard. Now it's just so different. The whole model is changing. So seeing an artist that's tenacious and just doesn't take no for an answer and just keeps hustling and hustling and hustling, I respect that a lot. I think I could have used some of that when I was younger. I may have relied on other people too much. Some of them smart, some of them complete idiots.
Maybe
but I learned,
wrong.
And it was my fault. I relied on people that were not qualified to make shit happen for me, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So whose fault is that? I could have been more on it. I could have been. I'm not. Look, everything worked out fine, but ultimately, what I respect in a young artist is the drive.
Yeah.
And being hungry. And it doesn't matter if you're 16 or 35. Like, if you're starting out, like, that's fine. The whole age limit thing, I don't buy.
Well, that's
I have amazing artists that I know that started in their late 20s and are incredible, and I love their music, and it's valid. So it's I think if you're starting out and you get that drive, go for it. That's my thing.
Well, that was one of the other questions actually was, are you ever too old for the industry? Are you ever too old to make it in the industry? I guess they're referring to the commercial music industry.
I mean, if you have a tour scheduled, but you need to get a hip replacement instead, like that's probably a sign that you should maybe look at other places. But look, if you got the energy and you're good with going on the road and you know doing promo and interviews and you can handle it,
yeah.
Then why? I mean, why not? You see, I mean, if Mick Jagger can be running around the stage, why can't you?
For sure. I mean, how do you think the music industry's changed since? I mean, I know since I went into it, it's changed considerably, and I think we're all kind of learning the new model at the moment. And I think what's cool personally is that you can reach your fan base directly now, which is something that I like to talk to my artists about. You know, about being business savvy and having their own independent careers, so that they have a decision when it comes to working with a label. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the whole model changed, right? It's like, ooh, that sounds so different in here.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know, the whole, like you said, the whole model changed. So, like back in the day, you'd make a record, and then you sell that record, then you use that money to make more records. You know, it's just like a very circular thing. And now it's like, well, you make a record, the record technically fails, but you get endorsement deals on the side, and like kind of make money in streaming, but then you make a lot of money on live shows, and like it's all weird. So I feel like in a lot of ways it's still the Wild West.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to figure out how to monetize music.
Yeah.
And I find that there's more music, there's more money in music now than ever. It's just not as evenly distributed. So like the artists that are at the top are making a fucking fantastillion dollars.
Right.
And the artists starting out have buckets. So it's like, you know, how do you cross that chasm?
So kind of money for the successful people rather than the ones who are on their way to success. I mean,
yeah. I just think that there are new ways to navigate a new career, and people are just finding out how.
What do you feel is the best way to navigate a new career?
It really depends on the type of music and who you are, what kind of crowd it is. You know, you have people that, you know, have millions of fans but are virtually unknown in certain areas. You know, where back in the day it was just like you're either famous or you're not, and now you can be like look, who's a good example? Like a PJ Morton or like an Emily King. You know, Emily King, incredible artist.
Yeah.
And you know, she's so loved by so many people.
Yeah.
And she has her fans, but it's you know it's amazing how concentrated her fan base is, and you know she's obviously like growing a lot. And I mean, I love her music. I think she's so good, and it's amazing to watch her just constantly grow and grow. But for a long time, she was, you know, just touring out of a van. Like it wasn't always fancy. I remember I used to play in her band when she was on J Records back in the day.
Yeah.
And then she just said, you know, I don't know exactly how it went down, but basically she just started doing everything on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And then she released, her and J Most released that EP, 7, and it was incredible. Just like everything she does. Can you tell I love her?
Yeah.
And,
but this is a good thing. I love that.
And, you know, just watching her. So, you know, she did it her own way. Or like PJ Morton, you know, he joined Maroon 5 as a keyboard player, and then like kept doing his own music on the side. And then he had the gospel thing, so he was, you know, still doing. He had the song. Was it Let Go, Let God? I think it was called. Yeah, beautiful record, and that kind of made him a household name in the gospel scene. And then he crossed over and did all. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, there is no right way. It's just you stick to what you love, and I think authenticity is the key here, especially now where like you have social media, people can see through all the bullshit. It's not like back in the day where you can kind of manufacture a persona.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Instagram Live, you got Facebook, you got whatever, but, you know, 10 years they'll watch this video and there'll be a billion other things. But the point is that the connection is now so direct that it's pretty hard to bullshit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I actually did just a blog post on authenticity yesterday. I just think it's so important. And I feel like there's certain people in industry who still might try and sway you in different directions for what they feel might be good for you or how you could earn the money, perhaps. And I feel like just sticking to your guns and being true to who you are is really important. You know?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all love money. I love buying sandwiches, but it's also about, it's also about how do you do stuff that's long lasting, and how do you actually, I mean, not to be corny, but like, how do you actually touch people?
Yeah.
How do you make something that when someone presses play on their computer or their iPhone or wherever they listen to music, in their car, when they press play, it just whisks them out of their everyday life and lifts them up from their little mundane problems and takes them away for the duration of the song or the EP or the album or the movie or whatever it is, So that, to me, that's the question. And like I said, money's important, and we need to finance these lifestyles and our art, but ultimately it's about making something that's meaningful and long lasting, and that connection, and that goes back to authenticity and social media, and just being present and walking in your lane and not trying to
be something you're not.
Yeah, be something you're not, because ultimately when you're bullshitting, even if it passes off as real, like if you're not true to yourself, deep inside it resonates. So that's my constant challenge. How do I make my heart the compass to my life?
I love that so much, and I feel like I'm speaking from.
I gotta remember that about my heart, the compass to my life. Come on, hello, lights.
I'm gonna just send you that clip, and you can have it as your alarm.
Okay, yeah. No, but you know what I mean, right? Jokes aside, I mean,
no,
it's
totally,
about,
yeah,
not bullshitting anyone and yourself, and like, if you're meant to do what you're doing, it'll work out. I mean, look, I started as an artist, and I very quickly discovered that, that's not for me per se. Like but I didn't waste those tools. I mean, I studied bel canto singing, right? I studied Italian opera for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, I'm not going to be an artist anymore. Like, what's all this vocal technique going to go for? Like, what am I'm not going to go and sing now. So, and yet now I teach all these amazing people how to sing.
Yeah.
And I go to the Tonight Show and Good Morning America and all these places, and I help artists warm up and wake up their voices at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it's amazing because all those skills didn't actually go to waste. Yeah. But I had to go through my failure to understand that.
Yeah, and of course
nobody would have told me. You'll end up vocal coaching Rita Ora. Nobody was gonna tell me that when I was studying bel canto. I had to have the faith to just walk in my lane and see it through. And now I'm ready to do other things.
And do what you feel is right. Just kind of follow your gut instinct and what opens up for you, rather than kind of push yourself. Because I feel like that's what I did in New York, if I'm honest. I got so caught up in things when I was there. Not the whole time, but for some of it. And I felt like I was almost going in that direction, if I'm being honest, of trying to push myself, somewhere that I shouldn't be, for the sake of what I thought was the right thing to do. And actually, it took me just stepping away from New York and getting back to my heart and what I feel is right for me, and just going, well, F it. I'm just going to write music that I love. I'm going to sing music that I love, and I'm going to do what feels right for me. And it's liberating to get back to that place. And now I see all these opportunities open up for me that probably weren't there before. Because I think people can tell when you're BSing them, like you said earlier on. So when someone's a genuine artist, I feel like, and when they're kind of pretending or trying to push themselves in a direction.
And too.
And
even if people can't tell, even if people can't tell, man, it's a terrible feeling to be praised for something that is bullshit.
Oh, I know, yeah. Yeah.
It's almost worse. I would say it's worse than not succeeding.
Yeah,
you can argue that, but I think ultimately, just doing what you do is the goal. And whether you succeed in a traditional way or succeed in a non-traditional way, the world is not wrong. If people are meant to like it, they'll like it. And if they don't, that's fine. But at least, you're true to your shit. And I mean that. Trust me, I mean that. I mean, if my thing collapses and fails, then all right, I know that I did the best of my ability, and you try something else. But you have to have failures as opposed to just trying to make, jerry-rig your persona so that it works for what you think people are into.
Yeah.
I tried that for a long time. I was like, oh, I need to be happier. Oh, I need to be more tearful. And it's like, no, fuck that. If I'm upset, then be upset and just speak from the heart, and and the same goes for like management and agents and all that kind of shit. Like, I had a manager that I really tried to make things work with.
Yeah.
I tried so hard. I was in Germany, I was in Berlin, and we were all living together. And I tried so hard to make it work, but ultimately it just was a bad fit. So,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I wish I let it explode
sooner.
3 years earlier.
Yeah.
But I tried, but
I have a similar experience with that.
Yeah. And listen, she had the best intentions for me. I really truly believe that she wanted to help me in a genuine way. She just wasn't, maybe equipped, or maybe we weren't seeing eye to eye. There's a lot of reasons why the shit didn't work. But ultimately, it was a glorious failure. And I moved on, and I did other things that are now perfect for me. I'm so happy. I have a nice family. I have a beautiful daughter. I'm traveling all over the world. I'm living a comfortable life. I have a beautiful studio, as you can see.
Yeah, and I'm sure you learned so much from that as well. I mean, I
know.
We
my grandma used to say, we learn, and we die stupid.
Yeah. It's true, though. Yeah, no, it's a good saying. How much time do you have? Do I have time for a couple more questions, or?
Yeah, shoot. I have a few more minutes, sure.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, kind of just from my own experience, I don't regret anything that happened in New York. I had the best time. I learned an incredible amount that I'm now passing on to new artists. And not just New York. Obviously, I've been in the industry over 20 years. So, and I feel like, kind of just for the new artists listening, don't beat yourself up if something isn't working for you. If you feel like you've messed up, don't worry about it. Just kind of, it's all part of the creative journey. Would you agree with that? So,
yeah, to some level, you also have to be careful. Like, sometimes it's good
don't be a dick, but.
Look, they say certainty is a luxury reserved to those on the sidelines, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're fighting for something, you're not sure. Like, do I give up now, or do I push through and like make it happen? Because there's also that. There's we spoke earlier about drive and tenacity. So where do you draw the line, and where is that truth? Is it somewhere in the middle, or is it on one side of the spectrum? So I don't have the answer for everything. I only know my journey. And some things I'm really happy that I pushed through. Some things I feel like, it was kind of shitty. Like, look at the management thing, for example. Like, I was in Berlin for 5 years, right? And it was really fucking terrible at times. But I got to meet a lot of people, and I got to continue my singing studies. And there's a lot of things I got to do. So it wasn't like an absolute failure. Would I have moved faster if I was back home in New York? Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't really know. You don't have the luxury of saying what's good or what's not. I think it would have been better if I just let the shit explode from a managerial point. But there are other benefits to it. So it's never like black or white. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So no regrets. So that's what I mean. Like, have no regrets on your journey. It's kind of gone. I feel like it's gone how it's supposed to go, and I've made, because of the sort of person I am, I've made the most out of the situation, and I'm now putting it to good use.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question was.
Wait, what? What was the question? Sorry, I went up to.
I'm new to this interviewing thing. I was going to say, so a label or being independent. So do you feel like you need, in your experience, do you need a label I mean, what's the advantages of having a label? Should this be something that people are really aiming for, or?
I mean, look, the way I see it, labels are outsourcing everything anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So PR, you're not using in-house PR, you're using a third party, or agents, it's not within the label, you're going to a different agency, or tour support and all that stuff. It's not in-house, it's just all independent people. So I feel like you need the infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's almost easier with a label because they know where to go and who to go to. It's not always the best options, but they have their contact. I don't see any need for a label. A label is basically a bank.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can find an investor, or if you have the funds, or if you figure out ways to create your art without needing that capital,
just do it.
It's wide open. Just do it. Now, if you want to get on radio, the one thing I will say is if you want to get on terrestrial radio, like top 40 radio, you're going to have a hard time getting there if you're not on a major label.
Because the radio.
But then we can talk about the relevance of being on terrestrial radio. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But there's a finite space of how many artists are actually in rotation.
Yeah.
And if you're not like on Columbia or RCA or like Capitol, one of the big boys, like you're not getting on radio.
Yeah. So
but
that's cool.
Maybe your YouTube clip will have 400 million views, and then who gives a crap about radio? It's a different conversation. But the answer is no. I think labels are completely unnecessary. I mean, look at Chance the Rapper. Look at a million other people who are. I mean, it's crazy.
What about exposure? That's what people are always talking about. Exposure. Well, labels have access to expose you. I mean, yeah, radio, that's one of the ways they can expose you, but other ways as well. Do you feel like whatever?
Labels?
Yeah, that's like the common misconception, I think, is that they have...
You want to be exposed, become best friends with an artist. Become best friends with Justin Bieber and have him tweet your music one time and watch what happens.
Yeah, or have it, just be seen like... holding a coffee with Justin Bieber or something.
There's your exposure.
Just anything. So I was going to ask, so one of my artists says, how intense is the pressure in the music industry? So it depends where you are and whether you're working with labels and what your schedule's like. But do you find it intense? Do you find the pressure intense?
That's such a general question. I mean, depends,
Like, is
depends what you do. As an artist?
I guess in terms of delivering. So when you're on stage with someone like Carole King or Alicia Keys, you've been doing it a long time, but when you first started, did you find that pressure? How intense was that to go and work with someone like that? Did you just, oh shit, did you have those moments of, I better not F this up or anything?
Yeah, that's a good question. Anything that's really important, like really important, you have to treat with a certain degree of nonchalance.
Yeah.
Because if you go, oh my god, this is really important, I can't fuck it up, guess what you're going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to get in your head, and you're going to make a big boo-boo, probably.
Yeah.
So, anything that's actually really important, you have to almost be very, they say leger in French.
Yeah.
Very leger about it. You have to be very...
whatever.
Yeah, there's got to be an element of carelessness to it.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw myself on a giant screen, like in the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Oh shit, those are my hands, and like I felt almost paralyzed for a second because you feel like, it's not natural to stand in front of all those people, stand 40, 50, 60,000 people, and just play stuff that you play in your room in a very personal space, or like, and it's also that transition of like, standing backstage in some room, and then walking onto stage, and you're like in front of Rock in Rio, and there's like, I don't know, 300,000 people on a lawn.
The contrast.
There's like, and the wind is blowing, and it's cold, and there's cameras on you, and there's like, 6 people on stage, and like, you can't see the end of the audience. and they go, make beautiful music, and you go, so if you start thinking about it, you will look, unless you're superhuman, but me, I know that if I get in my head about it, and I start realizing how important those moments are, especially now with YouTube and like shit not being, you used to play a show and it was just like gone after you're done. Yeah. But now those shows last forever, right? Yeah. Everything is taped, everything's on YouTube. You have an accident on stage, it's on the internet in 2 minutes.
You can find anything, even from 10 years ago on the internet.
Yeah,
just everything's there.
Lenny Kravitz has his penis pop out of his pants, and it's all over the internet.
Yeah,
it's like, so it's. So
there's a little bit of pressure, but
Say what?
There's a little bit of pressure, but you just take it. And I love this attitude. Well, just whatever. I'm just going to do the best I can. Is that?
There's got to be an element of nonchalance to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying be careless. Like you got to prepare. You got to be serious about your craft, but you can't get paralyzed. With insecurities. You practice. You put into work, and you have to trust that you did what you needed to do to get to that point, and then you just enjoy it.
Yeah. That's what practice is for, right? Putting in those hours so that when you get on stage, all that information in your subconscious comes forward and you can just enjoy the moment. Do you feel like you have to get into the zone? I mean, you're just in it straight away?
Or wake up in the zone, baby.
Yeah, you're always in the zone.
It's true, man. You wake up, you're in the zone. You're always in the zone. I'm ready to sing right now. I'm ready to play. I'm in it.
Yeah.
But look, again, it comes with time. You don't just start playing and then the next week you're doing Rock in Rio, right? You're doing, you play clubs, you play tons of clubs, thousands of club dates, and then you start doing like bigger venues, and then you start doing like theaters, and then you start doing bigger theaters, and arenas, and then you do stadiums. You don't just start and just get thrown on those giant stages. I mean, there are those freak stories, but for most of us who have done this as a career and have built this steadily, there's been a gradual process. Sometimes it's fast, but it's still a build. It's not like. So
you have that experience under your belt. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, every person is different, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm a huge believer in putting mileage on the shit before you get into the bigger stages of the world. So, and as it applies to pressure, the pressure, it doesn't go away, but you learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I mean, do I feel pressure? No. But I'm also like, my name is not on the marquee. Like, if Hanan Rubinstein cancels the gig, nobody returns their fucking ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Alicia Keys cancels the gig, no one's coming to see me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine.
It's a different perspective.
The world's not wrong. So it's a different kind of pressure. So it's, but if Alicia makes a mistake on stage, I just follow her. If I make a mistake on stage, that's not good. So it's a different kind of, she has different expectations on her. So I have to make it look like she can't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. That's my job. I have to support her at all times.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's pressure, but you have to be like hyper focused on, different call. You go to voicemail and we're back. It's a different kind of pressure. It's an awareness.
Yeah. I love all these answers. I think it's just invaluable talking to you because you're getting to see a perspective that not everyone gets to see. You're really in there, like you said at the beginning of the interview. You're really in there, seeing what it's like to work on this top level, but also with new artists, and you have all these different skills. I think that's awesome. So what would
but there's all kinds of situations, and it's like this girl Gabby that's coming here today. She has 4.1 million Instagram followers. She has 9.1 million YouTube followers. It's crazy, but we're still in a way starting out with her because there's not a lot of music out there, and she's super talented. So it's one of those things where how do you approach a project like that where somebody is very well known and loved by a lot of people, and how do you give it a fresh perspective without confusing people, and how do you deal with those pressures of like constantly being in the eye of the public?
Yeah. How did she get those followers? Did she do something else? I mean, does she model, or has she been on TV, or?
You'll have to look her up.
Okay, I will do. So, as my last question, what would be your top tip? If you had one tip to give to new artists, what would it be?
Don't listen to anyone, including me. Just do what you feel is right.
Yeah.
And know that you might make some mistakes, and that's fine. And take a bite out of it. The good, the bad, everything. Just enjoy it, and don't forget, it's just art. At the end of the day,
it's not heart surgery. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're just making things we love, and we hope that other people love it too.
Yeah. Oh, Hanan, it's been so cool speaking with you and catching up. Honestly,
my pleasure.
We need to do it sooner.
Where to find
let's
me.
not leave it like 5 years next time.